The Hanbit space station floated silently above Earth, like a metal flower hanging in the darkness of space. Inside, more than 200 people lived and worked, watching the blue planet below and studying the endless stars above. Kang Taeho stood near a large window, holding a cup of cold coffee and looking at the curve of the Earth. He was 28 years old, with tired eyes and hands that knew every wire and pipe on this station. As the lead engineer, he spent his days fixing things that broke and making sure everyone could breathe, eat, and stay alive in the cold emptiness of space. It was a normal Tuesday morning when everything changed. The alarm started screaming first. Red lights flashed across every corridor. Taeho dropped his coffee and ran toward the control room, his boots hitting the metal floor hard. When he arrived, he found chaos. Operators were shouting at each other. Screens showed something impossible. A ship had appeared near Earth. But this was not a human ship. It was enormous. The alien vessel was black and silver, shaped like a teardrop, and it was larger than any building Taeho had ever seen. It simply appeared out of nowhere, as if space itself had opened a door and let it through. "They are sending a message," one operator said, her voice shaking. The main screen flickered, and then a face appeared. It was humanoid, but clearly not human. The skin was pale blue, almost white. The eyes were large and violet. Like two purple moons, the creature spoke, and somehow, the words came out in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Orion Empire. We come in peace. We request permission to send a delegation to your station for diplomatic discussion." The world held its breath. Taeho watched as Earth's leaders scrambled to respond. Within hours, they agreed. The aliens would come aboard. Taeho was not important enough to attend the official meeting. He was just an engineer. But he stood with the crowd of station workers who gathered in the main hall to watch the aliens arrive. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and they walked in. There were 5 of them. 4 were tall soldiers in dark armor, their faces hidden behind helmets. But the 5th one made everyone stop breathing. She was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her hair was long and silver, flowing behind her like liquid metal. Her skin was pale with a soft blue glow. Her eyes were the deepest violet Taeho had ever seen. She wore a white gown that seemed to shine with its own light. She moved like water, smooth and graceful. And when she looked around the room, everyone felt her gaze like a physical touch. "I am Princess Vela of the Orion Empire," she said. Her voice was soft but carried across the entire hall. "I thank you for welcoming us." The Earth representative stepped forward to greet her. Speeches were made. Hands were shaken. Taeho watched from the back, feeling like he was dreaming. Aliens were real. They were here. And they looked like angels from old stories. But then something went wrong. A loud bang echoed through the station. The lights flickered and died. Emergency red lights came on, painting everything in blood color. People screamed. The life support alarm began to wail. "The oxygen system," someone shouted. Something exploded in Section 7. Panic spread fast. The alien soldiers moved to protect their princess, forming a wall around her. Earth security tried to calm people down. But fear was stronger than words. If the oxygen system failed, everyone on the station would die within hours. Taeho did not panic. He could not afford to. He pushed through the crowd and ran toward Section 7. His mind was already working, remembering every diagram, every backup system, every emergency protocol he had memorized over the years. Section 7 was filled with smoke. Sparks flew from broken wires. The main oxygen generator was damaged, fire eating at its core. 2 other engineers were there, frozen with fear. "Help me," Taeho ordered. "We need to shut down the main line and switch to backup." They worked fast. Taeho's hands moved without hesitation, cutting wires, connecting new paths, and typing commands into emergency panels. Sweat ran down his face. His lungs burned from the smoke, but he did not stop. 10 minutes later, the backup system came online. Fresh air began to flow. The fire died. The station was saved. Taeho sat on the floor, breathing hard, his uniform covered in black marks. The other engineers looked at him with wide eyes. "You saved us," one of them whispered. Tejo just nodded. He was too tired to speak. The news spread quickly. By evening, everyone on the station knew that the young engineer had saved 200 lives. Earth's leaders praised him. His colleagues thanked him, but Tejo just wanted to sleep. He was walking back to his room when he felt someone behind him. He turned around and froze. Princess Vela stood in the corridor, alone. Her guards were nowhere to be seen. She looked at him with those violet eyes, and Tejo felt like she was looking into his soul. "You are the one who saved this station," she said. It was not a question. "I just did my job," Tejo replied. His voice sounded weak even to himself. Vela stepped closer. She was taller than him by a few inches. This close, he could see that her skin really did glow, soft and gentle like moonlight. She smelled like flowers he could not name, something sweet and alien. "I watched you," she said. "When everyone else was afraid, you were calm. When others froze, you acted. Your life force burns bright, human, brighter than anyone I have seen on this station." Quote, Tejo did not know what to say. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might burst. Vela leaned closer. Her lips came near his ear, so close he could feel her breath. It was warm and soft. And then she whispered words that changed his life forever. "You will be the father of my children, Earthling." Tejo stepped back, his eyes wide. "What?" But Vela just smiled, a small and mysterious curve of her lips. She turned and walked away, her silver hair flowing behind her like a river of starlight. Tejo stood alone in the corridor for a long time, wondering if he had gone crazy. Had an alien princess just proposed to him? Had she really said those words? He did not sleep that night. He lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying her whisper in his mind, over and over again. He was just an engineer, a nobody. Why him? Outside his window, the alien ship hung in the darkness, its lights blinking like watching eyes. Somewhere inside that ship, Princess Vela was waiting, and Tejo knew, deep in his bones, that his simple life was over. The next morning, Tejo woke up, hoping everything had been a dream, but when he turned on his tablet, he saw his face on every news channel. The engineer who saved the space station, the hero of Hanbit. And next to his picture was another face, pale and beautiful with violet eyes. Princess Vela had made an official announcement. Tejo watched the recording with shaking hands. The princess stood before a room full of Earth's most powerful leaders. Her voice calm and clear. "My people are dying," she said. "The Orion Empire has existed for 50,000 years. We have conquered disease. We have mastered technology. We have spread across 100 worlds. But we made a terrible mistake. In our desire for perfection, we removed all weakness from our blood. We bred ourselves to be flawless. And in doing so, we destroyed our ability to change, to grow, to survive." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Our children are born weak and few. Each generation is smaller than the last. In 500 years, there will be no Orions left. We will disappear from the universe like dust in the wind." The room was silent. Tejo could see Earth's leaders leaning forward, their faces serious. "We searched the galaxy for help," Vela continued. "We found many species, but none were compatible with our biology. None except humans. Your kind is young and chaotic. You fight, you fail, you make mistakes. But that chaos is exactly what we need. Your genes carry something precious. Something we lost long ago. Adaptability. The power to change and survive." She looked directly at the camera, and Tejo felt like she was looking at him. "We offer Earth a partnership, our technology for your genetic cooperation. We will share everything we know. Medicine that cures any disease. Machines that create endless energy. Weapons that can protect your world from any threat. In return, we ask only for willing volunteers to help us create the next generation of Orions." A generation that will carry the best of both our peoples. The recording ended. Taeho sat in silence, trying to understand what he had just heard. The aliens wanted human DNA. They wanted to make hybrid children. And the princess had chosen him specifically. His tablet beeped. A message from Station Command. They wanted to see him immediately. When Taeho arrived at the command center, he found it crowded with important people. Military officers, scientists, politicians from Earth, all of them staring at him like he was some rare animal. Han So-hee pushed through the crowd and grabbed his arm. "Are you okay?" she asked. So-hee was his closest friend on the station. A biologist with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. "This is insane, Taeho. Do you know what they're asking?" "I just found out," he said. A tall man in a dark suit stepped forward. Taeho recognized him as Director Kwon, the head of Earth's space program. "Mr. Kang," the director said, "the princess has made a specific request. She wants you, and only you, to be her partner in this program. We need to know if you are willing." "Why me?" Taeho asked. "There are millions of men on Earth. Why choose some engineer nobody has heard of?" Director Kwon looked uncomfortable. "The princess claims she can sense something called life force. She says yours is the strongest she has ever encountered among humans. Our scientists do not understand it. But she was very clear. She wants you. She wants you." Taeho felt dizzy. This was too much. Yesterday he was fixing broken pipes. Today, an alien princess wanted him to father her children. "I need time to think," he said. "Of course," the director said. "But please understand, Mr. Kang, this decision affects all of humanity. The technology the Orions offer could save billions of lives. We are not ordering you to accept, but we are asking you to consider what is at stake." Taeho left the room feeling like he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. So-hee followed him to the observation deck, where they stood in silence, watching Earth spin slowly below. "Don't let them pressure you," So-hee said finally. "This is your body, your life. You have the right to say no." "But what if they're telling the truth?" Taeho asked. "What if refusing means Earth loses its chance at all that technology? People will die, So-hee. Diseases that could be cured, wars that could be prevented. And what about you?" So-hee demanded. "You're not a machine. You're not a tool for making babies. Have you even talked to her? Do you know anything about her? Besides what she looks like?" Taeho shook his head. "I met her for 30 seconds. She whispered some crazy words and walked away." So-hee crossed her arms. "This could be a trap, Taeho. We know nothing about these aliens. What if they're lying about everything? What if they just want to experiment on humans?" Before Taeho could answer, the door behind them opened. They both turned and saw Princess Vela standing in the doorway. "Alone again. May I speak with you?" she asked, looking at Taeho. "Alone?" So-hee stepped forward protectively, but Taeho touched her arm. "It's okay," he said. "I need to hear what she has to say." So-hee gave him a worried look but left. The door closed, and Taeho was alone with the alien princess. Vela walked to the window and stood beside him, looking at Earth. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "Your friend does not trust me," Vela said finally. "Can you blame her?" Taeho replied. "You appeared out of nowhere, asked to make babies with a stranger, and now everyone expects me to just agree." Vela turned to face him. In the starlight, her violet eyes seemed sad. "I understand your fear," she said. "But I did not choose you randomly. Among all the humans I have observed, your life force shines the brightest. It is like a fire that refuses to die. When the station was in danger, I felt it burn even stronger. You are special, Kang Taeho. Perhaps you do not see it, but I do." "What exactly is this life force?" Taeho asked. "It is difficult to explain in your language. It is the energy of survival, the will to live and fight and grow. My people lost it long ago. We became too perfect, too controlled. We forgot how to struggle. But you, humans, you struggle every day. You fail and fall and get back up. That struggle creates life force. And yours is remarkable. Tejo looked at her, this strange and beautiful creature who had crossed galaxies to find him. If I say no, he asked quietly, what happens? Vela's face showed no emotion. Then I will ask others. But I believe none will match what you could give my people. Our children would be strong. Tejo. They would carry the fire that could save the Orient Empire. Without that fire, we will continue to fade until nothing remains. Tejo was silent for a long time, thinking about everything he had heard. An entire civilization was dying. They had traveled across the stars, looking for hope. And somehow, that hope was him. I cannot give you an answer today, he said. I need time to understand, to learn about your people. I will not agree to something this important blindly. Vela nodded slowly. That is fair. Perhaps you could learn about us, and we could learn about you. Would you be willing to teach me about humanity, Kang Tejo? To show me why your kind is so special? Tejo looked into her violet eyes and saw something unexpected. Genuine curiosity, and perhaps loneliness. All right, he said, I will teach you, but no promises about anything else. For the first time, Vela smiled. It was small but real, and it made her cold face look almost warm. Thank you, she said. I look forward to learning. She left, and Tejo stood alone, watching the stars. He had just agreed to teach an alien princess about being human. What had he gotten himself into? The lessons began the next day. Tejo met Vela in the station's recreation room, a small space with old couches, a broken television, and windows that showed the endless darkness of space. He had no idea how to teach someone about humanity, so he started with something simple. This is coffee, he said, holding up a cup. Most humans cannot function without it. Vela took the cup carefully, sniffed it, and made a face. It smells burned. That's station coffee. Real coffee is much better. Tejo smiled a little. On Earth, people gather in places called cafes, just to drink this and talk to each other for hours. Talk about what? Everything, nothing, the weather, their jobs, their dreams. Sometimes they just sit in silence together. Vela looked confused. That seems inefficient. Why not communicate through data transfer? It would be faster. Tejo shook his head. Because it's not about efficiency. It's about connection. Being with someone. Sharing a moment. Vela was quiet for a moment, processing this strange idea. Then she took a small sip of the coffee. Her face twisted. This is terrible, she said. Tejo laughed. It was the first time he had laughed since the aliens arrived. I told you, station coffee is the worst. Over the following days, Tejo showed Vela everything he could think of. He took her to the cafeteria, where station workers ate together and argued about sports from Earth. He showed her the small garden room where some crew members grew flowers just because they missed the colors of home. He played music for her, old songs his mother had sent him from Korea, and watched her face as she listened. What is this feeling? Vela asked once, her hand on her chest. When I hear these sounds, something happens inside me. It is uncomfortable, but also pleasant. That's emotion, Tejo said. The music makes you feel something. Happy, sad, peaceful. That's what art does to humans. We have art on my world, Vela said slowly. But it does not make me feel anything. It is perfect, but empty. Tejo began to understand her people's problem. The Orions had removed everything messy from their existence. No strong emotions, no chaos, no struggle. They had made themselves into living statues, beautiful and eternal but somehow not truly alive. One evening, they stood together in the observation room, watching Earth. The sun was setting over Asia, painting the clouds in gold and red. It is beautiful, Vela whispered. We have planets in our empire far larger than this one. We have engineered perfect sunsets that last for hours. But none of them look like this. Why not? Tejo asked. Because they are designed. Every color is calculated. Every cloud is placed exactly where it should be. There is no surprise, no randomness. But this, she gestured at Earth. This is chaos. And somehow, chaos is more beautiful than perfection. Tejo watched her face as she watched the sunset. In this light, she almost looked human. He could see the wonder in her eyes, the hunger for something she had never known. Tell me about your life, she said suddenly. Before you came here, Tejo shrugged. Nothing special. I grew up in a small town. My father was a mechanic. My mother cooked the best food in the neighborhood. I liked to take things apart and put them back together. So I became an engineer. Do you miss them? Your parents? Every day. Tejo's voice grew quiet. My father died 3 years ago. Heart attack. My mother still lives in that small town, waiting for me to visit. I call her every week, but it's not the same. Vela was silent for a moment. On my world, we do not have such connections. Children are created in laboratories, raised by teachers, and assigned their roles in society. I have never met my genetic donors. I do not even know their names. Tejo stared at her. That sounds incredibly lonely. I did not think so before, Vela admitted. I thought it was normal, efficient. But now, hearing you speak of your mother, I wonder what I have missed. She turned to face him fully, her violet eyes reflecting the last light of the sunset. This is why I need you, Tejo. Not just your genes. I need someone who understands these things. Someone who can teach our children what it means to love, to miss, to connect. If I had children with another Orion, they would be just like us, cold, empty, perfect statues. But with you, they could be something more. Tejo felt his heart beating faster. He was starting to see her differently now. Not as an alien princess with strange requests, but as a person carrying impossible weight. Why you? He asked. Why are you the one doing this? You're a princess. Surely there are others in your empire who could search for compatible species. Vela looked away. Because I am the last hope. My father, the emperor, has 3 children. My brothers are generals, focused on military strength. They believe we should conquer other species and take what we need by force. I am the only one who believes in partnership. If I fail, if I cannot find another way, my father will listen to my brothers, and humanity will become our slaves instead of our allies. Tejo felt cold. Is that possible? Would your people really attack Earth? Some already want to. Vela's voice was heavy. General Malik, our military commander, believes humans are primitive creatures. He thinks we should harvest your genetic material without asking. My father has forbidden it, but Malik grows impatient. The longer we wait, the stronger his argument becomes. Suddenly, Tejo understood the true stakes. This was not just about making babies. This was about preventing a war. If Vela succeeded, Earth would gain a powerful ally. If she failed, Earth might face an enemy it could not defeat. No pressure then, Tejo muttered. Vela almost smiled. I did not want to burden you with this knowledge. But you deserve the truth. They stood in silence as the sunset faded and stars appeared. Somewhere out there, beyond the darkness, empires rose and fell. Wars were fought over things humans could not imagine. And here, on this tiny station, a simple engineer and an alien princess were trying to change history. I still need time, Tejo said finally. But I want you to know, I'm not afraid anymore. I understand what this means. And I want to help. Even if I don't know how yet. Vela reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth, like touching silk. Thank you, Tejo. For listening. For trying to understand. No one has ever done that for me before. Tejo felt something shift inside him. He looked at her hand on his, small and pale against his rough engineer's fingers. Maybe so he was wrong. Maybe this was not a trap. Maybe it was the beginning of something he could not yet imagine. As they walked back to their quarters, neither noticed the shadow watching from a dark corner. General Malik stood in silence, his golden eyes filled with contempt. He had heard everything. The princess was growing weak. She was letting a human touch her, speak to her as an equal. This could not be allowed. Malik turned and walked away, already planning his next move. The princess would learn soon enough that kindness was weakness, and weakness would be destroyed. The attack came without warning. Taeho was sleeping when the explosions shook the station. He jumped from his bed, heart pounding, as alarms screamed through the corridors. Red emergency lights flashed. The floor beneath his feet trembled. He grabbed his communicator. "Sohee, what's happening?" Static answered him. Then a voice cut through, cold and mechanical. "Attention, humans. This is General Malik of the Orient Empire. Your station is now under our control. Princess Vela has been removed from command for crimes against our people. Resistance will be met with death. Surrender immediately." Taeho felt his blood turn to ice. He ran out of his room and nearly crashed into Sohee, who was running toward him with wild eyes. "The Orient soldiers," she gasped. "They're everywhere. They're taking people prisoner." "Where's Vela?" "I don't know. They took her first." "Taeho. We have to hide." But Taeho was already moving in the opposite direction. Sohee grabbed his arm. "What are you doing? You can't fight them." "I'm not going to fight them. I'm going to save her." Sohee stared at him like he had lost his mind. "She's an alien, Taeho. Her own people took her. This isn't our war." Taeho stopped and turned to face his friend. "You didn't see her, Sohee. These past days, talking to her, teaching her. She's not just an alien princess. She's a person, lonely and scared and trying to do the right thing. If we abandon her now, her brother's generals win, and then they come for us anyway." Sohee was silent for a moment. Then she cursed under her breath. "Fine, but we need a plan. We can't just run onto their ship and start punching people." They found a maintenance tunnel and crawled through the station's hidden pathways. Taeho knew this station better than anyone. He had fixed every pipe, every wire, every broken panel. The Orient soldiers might control the main corridors, but they did not know the shadows. As they moved, they gathered others. A security officer named Park Ji-woo, who had avoided capture. 2 young technicians who were hiding in a storage room. Soon they had a small group, scared but determined. "The Orions took the princess to their ship," Ji-woo reported. "I saw them drag her through the airlock. Their main vessel is still connected to our docking bay." "Can we get inside?" Taeho asked. Sohee shook her head. "Their ship has biological security. Only Orient DNA can open the doors." Taeho thought hard. Then he remembered something Vela had told him during their conversations. "Orient technology responds to life force," he said. "That's how Vela found me. She said my life force was strong enough that she could sense it across the station." Sohee looked skeptical. "So what? You're going to knock on the door and ask nicely?" "No. But if their technology can sense life force, maybe I can trick it." He turned to Sohee. "You studied their biology. Is there any way to make me seem more Orient to their sensors?" Sohee's eyes widened. "That's insane." Then she paused. "But maybe not impossible. When I examined their medical equipment, I noticed it reads energy patterns, not actual DNA. If we could boost your life force signature somehow, amplify it to match Orient levels." "How do we do that?" "Electricity," Sohee said slowly. "A controlled shock to your nervous system. It would be incredibly dangerous. You could die. But it might work? It might." Taeho looked at the faces around him. These people were counting on him. Earth was counting on him. And somewhere on that ship, Vela was waiting, probably thinking no one would come for her. "Do it," he said. They set up in a hidden medical bay. So he worked quickly, connecting wires to Taeho's chest and arms. The technicians modified a defibrillator to output a specific frequency based on Sohee's calculations. "This will hurt," Sohee warned. "A lot." "I know." She pressed the button. Lightning exploded through Taeho's body. He screamed, his back arching off the table, every nerve on fire. For a moment, he saw nothing but white light. Then darkness. He woke up gasping, his heart racing like a wild drum. Sohee was leaning over him, her face pale. "It worked," she whispered. "Your energy signature is off the charts. The sensors should read you as Orion, at least for a few minutes." Taeho stood on shaking legs. His whole body felt strange, like electricity was dancing under his skin. "Then let's move." They reached the docking bay through maintenance tunnels. 2 Orion soldiers guarded the airlock. Jiwoo took them down silently, her training finally useful. Taeho pressed his hand against the ship's entry panel. For a terrifying second, nothing happened. Then the door hissed open. Inside, the Orion ship was beautiful and cold. The walls were smooth metal that glowed with soft light. The air smelled clean, almost too clean, with no scent at all. Taeho moved quickly, following the ship's layout that Vela had described to him during their conversations. The detention level was deep inside the vessel. Taeho encountered more soldiers along the way, but he did not fight them directly. Instead, he used his knowledge of machines, cutting power to sections, locking doors behind enemies, creating distractions with false alarms. The Orions were powerful, but they were not prepared for someone who fought like a shadow. Finally, he found her. Vela was in a small cell, her wrists bound by glowing energy chains. Her white dress was torn, her silver hair messy. But when she saw Taeho standing outside her cell, her violet eyes went wide. "Taeho? How are you here?" "I came for you," he said, working on the cell's lock. "Did you think I would just let them take you? You should not be here. If Malik finds you, he will kill you. Then let's make sure he doesn't find me." The lock clicked open. Taeho broke the energy chains around her wrists. Vela stared at him like she was seeing a ghost. "No one has ever come for me before," she whispered. "When I was taken, I thought I would die alone. I thought no one cared." Taeho took her hand. "That's what humans do for people they care about. We don't leave them behind." Tears formed in Vela's eyes. She had never cried before. She did not know her people could cry. But here, in this cold cell, held by a human's warm hand, something inside her broke open. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you risk your life for me?" Taeho smiled, tired but real. "Because you're worth saving. And because I'm starting to understand what you saw in humanity. We're not perfect. We're not powerful, but we don't give up on each other." Alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. "They know you're here," Vela said. "We have to move." Together, they ran through the ship's corridors. Vela knew shortcuts that led them away from the soldiers. But as they neared the docking bay, a figure stepped out of the shadows to block their path. General Malik stood before them, his golden eyes burning with fury. He was massive, almost twice Taeho's size, his armor gleaming in the dim light. "Princess," Malik said, his voice dripping with contempt. "Running away with your pet human. How far you have fallen." "Step aside, Malik," Vela commanded. "This is treason. My father will hear of this. Your father is weak, just like you. The Orion Empire needs strength, not pathetic hopes of partnership with inferior creatures." He looked at Taeho like he was examining an insect. "And this is the human you chose? This fragile little thing?" Malik raised his hand, and energy crackled around his fingers. "Let me show you what real power looks like." He attacked. Malik moved faster than Taeho's eyes could follow. One moment the general was standing still. The next his fist was flying toward Taeho's face. Taeho barely dodged, feeling the wind of the blow pass by his cheek. If that had connected, his skull would have shattered. "Taeho, run!" Vela screamed, but running was not an option. Malik stood between them and the exit. The only way out was through him. Tejo had never been a fighter. He was an engineer, a man of tools and calculations. But he had one thing Malik did not expect. He had nothing to lose. He grabbed a loose metal panel from the wall and swung it at Malik's head. The general caught it easily, crushing the metal like paper. But in that moment of distraction, Tejo kicked at the power conduit on the wall. Sparks exploded outward, temporarily blinding everyone. Tejo grabbed Vela's hand and ran. They sprinted through corridors, Malik's roars echoing behind them. The ship shook as the general smashed through walls in pursuit. He was too strong, too fast. They could not escape him forever. The bridge, Vela gasped. If we can reach the bridge, I can broadcast to the entire ship. Some soldiers are still loyal to me. They changed direction, climbing through maintenance shafts and crossing engineering sections. Tejo used everything he knew about ship designs to find the fastest path. Finally, they burst through a door and found themselves on the command bridge. It was empty. During the coup, Malik had sent all bridge officers to control the human station. A tactical mistake born from arrogance. Vela ran to the central console and began working the controls. I'm opening a channel to all Orion forces. But I need time. You'll have it, Tejo said, positioning himself at the door. Malik arrived seconds later, breaking through the entrance like a storm. His golden eyes found Tejo, and he smiled with cruel pleasure. You think you can stop me, human? You are nothing but meat and bone. I have killed thousands of creatures stronger than you. Maybe, Tejo said. But you haven't killed me yet, he charged. It was a ridiculous attack, like a mouse charging a lion. Malik laughed and swatted Tejo aside. The impact sent Tejo crashing into a wall, pain exploding through his ribs. He tasted blood, but he got up. Malik's laughter faded. He hit Tejo again. Harder. Tejo flew across the room, crashing into control panels. Something cracked in his arm. The pain was unbearable, but he got up again. Why won't you stay down? Malik demanded, genuine confusion in his voice. You cannot win. Every time you stand, I will knock you down again. This is pointless. Tejo spat blood and smiled. That's the difference between us. You fight because you think you can win. I fight because I refuse to lose. He attacked again, and again, and again. Each time, Malik struck him down. Each time, Tejo rose. His body was broken, his vision blurring, but something inside him burned brighter with every fall. Behind them, Vela watched with tears streaming down her face. She had never seen anything like this. On her world, when someone fell, they stayed down. Defeat was accepted logically. But this human, this fragile creature of flesh and blood, refused to accept defeat even when it was certain. This was what her people had lost. This was the fire they needed. The broadcast channel opened. Vela's voice carried across the entire ship, reaching every soldier, every officer, every Orion. My people, listen to me. I am Princess Vela, daughter of Emperor Ren. General Malik has committed treason. He has imprisoned me and plans to enslave humanity against my father's orders. But that is not why I speak to you now. She paused, watching Tejo struggle to his feet once more. I want you to see something. On this bridge, a human male is fighting General Malik. He has no weapons, no armor, no special powers. He has been beaten down a dozen times. By all logic, he should surrender. But he keeps rising, again and again. He fights not because he can win, but because he refuses to give up. Across the ship, Orion soldiers stopped what they were doing. They watched through security feeds as this impossible scene unfolded. A small human, covered in blood, standing against their mightiest general. This is what humanity has that we have lost, Vela continued. The will to fight against impossible odds. The courage to stand when falling is easier. We bred this out of ourselves 50,000 years ago, and we have been dying ever since. But it still exists here, in these primitive, chaotic, beautiful creatures. Malik roared and grabbed Tejo by the throat, lifting him off the ground. Enough. I will end this now. Wait. A voice came from behind. Malik turned. A group of Orion soldiers had entered the bridge, but they were not there to help him. Their weapons were pointed at the general. The princess speaks truth, their leader said. We have watched this human. We have seen something we thought was impossible. If this is what humanity can give us, then we want to live again. More soldiers arrived. Then more. Word spread through the ship like fire. Orions who had followed Malik out of fear or duty were now watching the feeds. Seeing Tejo's impossible stand, something stirred in their ancient hearts. A memory of what their ancestors once were before perfection made them hollow. Malik looked around at his crumbling support. You fools. You would betray your own kind for these animals? We would choose hope over extinction, the soldier replied. Release the human, General. It's over. Malik's face twisted with rage. For a moment, Tejo thought the general would kill him anyway. But then Malik threw him to the ground and stepped back. This is not over, Malik snarled. The Emperor will hear of this rebellion. You will all be punished. Perhaps, Vela said, walking to stand beside Tejo. But that is for my father to decide. Not you. The soldiers moved forward and took Malik into custody. The general went quietly, but his golden eyes promised revenge. Tejo lay on the cold floor, broken and bleeding. Vela knelt beside him, her hands gentle on his wounds. You saved me, she whispered. You saved my people. How can I ever repay you? Tejo managed a weak smile. Ask me again when I can feel my legs. Despite everything, Vela laughed. It was a strange sound, unpracticed and awkward, but real. So he and the others arrived minutes later, having fought their way onto the ship when they saw the broadcast. So he took one look at Tejo and started cursing. You idiot. You absolute idiot. What did you do to yourself? Saved the day, Tejo mumbled. Can I sleep now? Tejo. Can I sleep now? No. Stay awake. We're getting you to medical. As they carried him away, Tejo looked back at Vela. She stood among her soldiers, commanding and strong, but her violet eyes followed him with something new inside them. It was not just gratitude. It was not just admiration. It was love. The kind of love her people had forgotten how to feel. The kind that grew from chaos and struggle and sacrifice. The kind that could save a dying empire. Tejo closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. When he woke, everything would be different. Tejo woke up in a bed softer than anything he had ever felt. The ceiling above him was white and glowing with gentle light. For a moment, he thought he was dead, floating in some kind of afterlife. Then the pain hit him, a dull ache across his entire body, and he knew he was still alive. He tried to sit up but found he could barely move. Bandages covered his chest, his arms, his face. Medical tubes connected him to humming machines he did not recognize. Don't move. So he appeared beside him, her face tired but relieved. You've been unconscious for 3 days. Your body was a mess. Broken ribs, fractured arm, internal bleeding. The Orion doctors said any normal person would have died. Then why didn't I? So he smiled weakly. They said your life force is ridiculous. Apparently you're too stubborn to die. Tejo would have laughed, but even breathing hurt too much. Over the next few days, he learned what had happened after he passed out. The rebellion against Malik had spread across the Orion ship. When the soldiers saw the broadcast of Tejo's fight, something changed in them. They began questioning everything. Their orders, their purpose, their empty lives. By the time Vela took back control, most of the ship had already turned against the general. Malik was locked in the deepest cell on the vessel, awaiting judgment. His coup had failed, and his supporters had abandoned him. But the biggest news came from beyond the stars. Emperor Ren was coming. The ruler of the Orion Empire had watched the events from his throne world. He had seen the broadcast. He had watched a human fight his greatest general and refused to fall. and he had decided to see this remarkable creature for himself. When Tejo was finally strong enough to leave the medical bay, Vela came to him personally. She looked different somehow, softer around the edges, like ice beginning to melt. "My father arrives tomorrow," she said. "He wishes to meet you." Tejo felt a cold knot form in his stomach. "Is that good or bad? I honestly don't know. My father is difficult to predict. He has ruled for 3,000 years. He has seen empires rise and fall. A single human will not easily impress him." "Great. No pressure." Vela sat beside his bed and took his hand. It had become natural now, this small touch between them. Neither questioned it anymore. "Tejo, I need to tell you something. When I first chose you, it was because of your life force. I thought of you as a genetic resource, nothing more. I was cold and calculating, just like my people taught me to be." She paused, her violet eyes meeting his. "But these past weeks have changed me. Watching you, learning from you, seeing you risk everything to save me. I don't want you just for your genes anymore." Tejo's heart beat faster. "Then what do you want?" "I want you. All of you. Your kindness, your stubbornness, your terrible jokes about station coffee." She smiled, and it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. "I want to be with you, Tejo, not because my empire needs it, but because I need it. Because somewhere along the way, I fell in love with you." Tejo stared at her. An alien princess, one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, had just confessed her love to him. A simple engineer from a small town in Korea. "I don't know what to say," he admitted. "Say what you feel. That's what humans do, isn't it?" Tejo thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the chaos, the pain, but also the conversations, the shared sunsets, the moments of connection that had grown between them like flowers pushing through concrete. "I think I love you too," he said quietly. "I didn't expect it. I didn't plan it. But somewhere between the coffee lessons and almost dying, it just happened." Vela leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. It was an Orion gesture of deep affection, she had told him once, rarely shown outside of family. "Then let us face my father together," she whispered. "Whatever happens, we face it as one." The Emperor's ship arrived the next day. It was massive, making the first vessel look like a toy. The Hanbit station shook as it approached, its shadow falling across Earth like a dark cloud. Tejo stood in the main hall, wearing borrowed clothes that were too formal for him. Beside him stood So-hee, Director Quan, and several Earth leaders who had arrived from the planet below. Vela stood apart, waiting for her father. The airlock opened, and Emperor Ren entered. He was ancient. That was Tejo's first thought. The Emperor's skin was pale as snow, his hair pure white, his eyes deep violet like his daughter's but colder. Harder. He moved slowly, every step calculated, and when he looked around the room, everyone felt the weight of centuries bearing down on them. His gaze found Tejo. For a long moment, neither spoke. "So," the Emperor said finally, his voice like grinding stone, "this is the human who defeated my general and turned my soldiers against him." Tejo bowed his head respectfully. "I didn't defeat anyone, Your Majesty. I just refused to give up." "Is there a difference?" "I think so. Defeating someone means you were stronger. Refusing to give up just means you were too stupid to quit." A murmur ran through the crowd. No one spoke to the Emperor this way, but Ren's expression did not change. "My daughter tells me she loves you," he continued. "She says you taught her things our civilization has forgotten. That you showed her what it means to truly live." "I just showed her how humans are," Tejo replied. "We're not special. We're just trying to survive, like everyone else. And yet you survived against one of my best warriors. You inspired loyalty in soldiers who have served me for centuries. You made my daughter smile for the first time in her life." The Emperor stepped closer, studying Tejo like a scientist examining a specimen. "You are either very remarkable or very lucky." "Probably both," Tejo admitted. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, incredibly, Emperor Ren laughed. It was a dry, rusty sound, like a machine that had not been used in years, but it was genuine. Honesty, the Emperor said. I had forgotten what that sounded like. My advisors tell me only what I want to hear. My generals speak only of glory and victory. But you, little human, you speak truth even to a being who could destroy your entire planet with a thought. He turned to Vela. You have chosen well, daughter. I did not believe it before, but I see now why you fought so hard for this alliance. Vela stepped forward, her voice strong. Then you will approve the partnership? Not conquest, but true cooperation? Emperor Ren was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. We have tried perfection for 50,000 years, and it brought us to the edge of extinction. Perhaps it is time to try chaos. He looked at Tejo one more time. You will marry my daughter. You will help her bring new life to our people. And in exchange, the Orion Empire will stand beside Earth as an ally and protector. Tejo felt Vela's hand slip into his. He looked at her. This strange and beautiful woman who had changed his life completely. No pressure then, he said. And once again, she laughed. 6 months passed like a dream. The alliance between Earth and the Orion Empire changed everything. Technology flowed between the two civilizations like rivers joining the sea. Orion doctors taught human scientists how to cure diseases that had plagued mankind for centuries. Human artists taught Orion musicians how to make sounds that stirred the soul. Children from Earth traveled to Orion worlds to learn about the stars, while Orion youth came to Earth to experience the beautiful chaos of human life. Tejo became famous, though he never wanted it. News channels called him the bridge between species, the man who saved 2 civilizations. People wanted to interview him, to hear his story, to understand how a simple engineer had won the heart of an alien princess. He refused most of them, preferring to stay out of the spotlight. His mother, however, was thrilled. When Tejo finally brought Vela to Korea to meet her, the old woman had cried with joy. She did not care that her future daughter-in-law was from another galaxy. She only cared that her son was happy. She's too skinny, his mother had said, examining Vela with critical eyes. Does she eat? Aliens need to eat, right? Mother, please, don't worry, Vela had replied, her Korean awkward but sincere. Tejo is teaching me about human food. I like the spicy things. His mother had immediately decided she loved this strange, blue-skinned woman. The wedding was held on the Hanbit station, where everything had begun. It was a ceremony like no other in history. Korean traditions blended with Orion rituals. Tejo wore a traditional hanbok, deep blue with gold embroidery. Vela wore a flowing white dress that shimmered with starlight, tiny crystals woven into the fabric that caught every light in the room. So he stood as Tejo's witness, her eyes suspiciously wet though she denied crying. Emperor Ren attended personally, his ancient face softer than it had been 6 months ago. Even General Malik, still imprisoned but allowed to watch through a screen, witnessed the union of 2 worlds. When Tejo and Vela exchanged vows, they spoke in both Korean and Orion. Promises of love, of partnership, of facing whatever came together. The station erupted in cheers when they kissed, humans and aliens celebrating side by side. That night, as the party continued around them, Tejo and Vela slipped away to the observation deck. They stood before the great window, looking at Earth below and the stars above. Are you happy? Tejo asked. Vela leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder. I don't think I knew what happiness was before I met you. My people don't have a word for it. We have words for satisfaction, for achievement, for duty fulfilled. But happiness? That was something we forgot. And now? Now I understand. Happiness is not about perfection. It's about connection. It's about finding someone who makes the universe feel smaller and larger at the same time. She looked up at him with those violet eyes that had haunted his dreams. You make me happy, Kang Tejo. He kissed her forehead gently. You make me happy too. Even though you still don't understand why station coffee is terrible. She laughed, the sound natural now, practiced over months of learning to feel. I will never understand human obsession with coffee. 3 months later, Vela told him she was pregnant. Tejo stared at her for a full minute, unable to speak. They were going to have a child, a being that would be half human and half Orion, the first of a new generation that could save an empire. Are you okay? Vela asked, worried by his silence. I'm terrified, Tejo admitted. I don't know how to be a father. What if I mess up? What if our child hates me? What if I'm not good enough? Vela took his hands in hers. Do you remember what you told me once? That humans are not perfect. But they don't give up. You will make mistakes, Tejo. So will I. But we will learn and grow and try again. That is what being human is about, isn't it? He looked at her. This woman from across the stars, who had learned more about humanity in 1 year than many humans learned in a lifetime. When did you become so wise? He asked. I had a good teacher. The news of the pregnancy spread quickly. Earth celebrated. The Orion Empire celebrated. For the first time in thousands of years, there was hope for a new generation that could carry the best of both species. Medical scans showed the child was healthy. Orion doctors marveled at the readings. The baby had the enhanced mental capacity of Orions, combined with the emotional depth and adaptability of humans. It was exactly what they had hoped for, proof that the alliance could create something truly new. As the months passed, Tejo watched Vela change. Her stomach grew round, her movements became slower, but her smile grew brighter. She spent hours talking to the baby, telling it stories about both worlds, singing songs she had learned from Tejo's mother, and reciting Orion poetry that she was only now learning to feel. Emperor Ren visited often. Unable to hide his excitement despite his ancient dignity, he brought gifts from across the empire, toys and clothes and devices that would help the child learn. So he became like an ant, constantly checking Vela's health and preparing for every possible complication. And Tejo? Tejo built things. A crib made from both earth wood and Orion metal. A mobile that showed the stars of both home worlds. A small music box that played his mother's favorite song, You're Nesting. So he told him once. Amused. Like a bird. I'm an engineer. Building things is how I show love. On a cold December night, the baby came. Tejo held Vela's hand through the long hours, whispering encouragement, promising that everything would be okay. When the baby finally cried its first cry, the sound echoed through the station like a bell announcing a new dawn. It was a girl. Her skin was a soft lavender, somewhere between Vela's blue and Tejo's tan. Her eyes, when she opened them, were violet like her mother's, but with golden flecks, like tiny stars. She was beautiful, strange and familiar at the same time, a miracle of two worlds combined. What should we name her? Vela whispered, exhausted but radiant. Tejo looked at his daughter, this impossible child who represented hope for billions of beings. He thought of his own mother, waiting back on Earth, eager to meet her granddaughter. Bile, he said. It means star in Korean. Because she's the light that will guide both our peoples forward. Vela smiled, tears running down her cheeks. Buell, I like it. They stood together at the observation window. Parents now, holding their daughter between them. Earth glowed below, blue and green and full of life. Beyond it, the stars stretched endlessly, full of worlds they would explore together. You gave my people a future, Vela whispered, her voice full of emotion. You gave us hope. Tejo looked at his wife and daughter, at the universe spreading before them, at the life they would build together. You gave me one too, he said. And as baby Bile reached up with tiny hands to touch the stars reflected in the window, Tejo knew that everything he had been through, every wound, every risk, every moment of fear and uncertainty had been worth it. The universe was vast and cold and full of dangers, but it was also full of possibility. And now, with his family beside him, Tejo was ready to face whatever came next. Together, always together.